Hi guys, so this video is going to be, well, it's not going to be jumbled, but there's going to be a part at the beginning before the intro and everything, because I was trying to get I told you in my last video that I had a mod where I could have a tent that would allow me to sleep until dawn. And I also had a mod that would give me storage so I could store things in my camp until I needed them for later. But what I didn't remember is that I had to leave the camp first to make them spawn in. So when you come into the camp the second time, that's when that tent and when the storage is available. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, I'll just leave the camp and I'll come right back in and all of that will be good. But of course, as soon as I left the camp, a cutscene started. So you see a fun little cutscene, and then when I entered back into the camp, I immediately started talking with Sten. It triggered an immediate dialogue between him. So the beginning of the video is a little shaky, but yeah, other than that, everything's fine. It's just the beginning of the video is just a little shaky. So I'm sorry about that, and let's get it going.
How did a child survive that? The crater is still smoking. It's a boy. 5 fingers, 5 toes. That's all that matters to me. The Maker has answered our prayers. Let's go home, Marta, and raise the tyke as our own.
I don't understand. You look like a woman.
Oh, well, we're just gonna start right off. I was doing the tent testing thing, and now apparently we're talking to Sten. What's not to understand about that?
You are a Grey Warden, so it follows that you can't be a woman.
That doesn't make sense, Sten.
So you understand my confusion, then?
No. Well, why can't I be a woman?
Women are priests, artisans, shopkeepers, or farmers. They don't fight.
That's not a universal truth. Some women fight. Her mother was a fighter. There were a lot of women in the battle who were fighters. There were even other female wardens, Alistair said, just not many.
Why would women ever wish to be men? That makes no sense.
We don't want to be men. That's not how that... so you think they can't be women because women don't fight?
Exactly.
But... You know what? We're going in circles here.
I don't know what to make of you. Perhaps this is a quality of Grey Wardens I had not heard about. A person is born, Gunari or human or elven or dwarf. He doesn't choose that. The size of his hands, whether he is clever or foolish, the land he comes from, the color of his hair, these are beyond his control. We do not choose, we simply are.
But a person can choose what to do.
Can they? We'll see.
I got 8 approval from that. Ugh, man, it's... Talking to Sten is a tricky thing to do. I don't enjoy it. Like, Morgan, you're gonna... If you're a nice person, you're gonna get disapproval from Morgan. But with Sten, it's like talking to a philosopher. It's different. Oh, Warden. Do you want someone to share your bed? No, we're gonna leave for now. But Okay. So I will put, I don't know how I'll arrange the video, but you'll see the thing that happened. I had to travel away from the tent. I had to travel away from the camp, which is that way, and then travel back for the chests and the tent to appear. But and something happened, and I'll put that in maybe the beginning before the intro. I don't really know, but I'll put it in. You'll get to see it. Where on earth is... okay. Oh, no, that's a mod. Now, I don't know if that's a good mod or not, but this is Levy Dryden.
You're a hard woman to find. Where are my manners? The name is Levy Dryden. Did Duncan ever mention me? Levy of the coins? Levy the trader?
I mean, I wasn't a Grey Warden long, so he didn't mention a lot of people. Oh, which, by the way, hey, it's Livy Loves. Welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. I was not expecting conversation to start as soon as I got back to the camp, so that was that was something. Duncan never. You know Duncan?
Oh yes, for years. Considered him a friend, I did. But here I am carrying on while you have a blight to stop. Don't want to waste your time. But you see, Duncan promised that together we'd look into something important for the Wardens. And for me. But poor Duncan's... well, no more. A tragedy it is, at that. But I know he would want his work carried on. His pledge fulfilled.
What promise did Duncan make to you?
Well, as you know, my family's name is mud around noble circles. My great-great-grandmother, Sophia Dryden, was the last Warden commander of Ferelden back when the Wardens were known as freeloaders. So King Arl banished the Wardens, and he took House Dryden's land and titles.
What happened next?
Hard to say. After King Arl died, there was a civil war, loads worse than this one. And our family was on the run, hunted by enemies, with nary a friend in the world. But Drydens are tough. We rebuilt, became merchants, and we never lost our pride.
So what favor did Duncan... what favor did you ask of Duncan?
I asked for the truth. My family reveres Sophia Dryden. We know she died at the old Grey Warden base, Soldier's Peak. We want evidence to clear her name. It won't restore our land or our titles, but it'll restore our honour.
I've never even heard of Soldier's Peak.
Well, no one's been to Soldier's Peak since Ireland's days. At least none that's come back. I spent years mapping the maze of tunnels to the peak.
That's
and I
not
found the way
comforting.
a few years back. So I went to Duncan, I did. And I said that he could reclaim the old base and my family could have its honour.
How will reclaiming the peak help the Wardens?
Soldier's Peak is strategic and symbolic importance. Duncan said that it would be worth it right there. He also hoped to recover lost Warden history and perhaps a few old relics. No one knows what's up there now.
So why didn't Duncan help you?
Darkspawn surfaced in southern Ferelden, and Duncan got plenty busy recruiting new Wardens and meeting with good King Cailan. Duncan said he would help after the Battle of Ostagar. Said there might be useful things at the peak, but he never had the chance.
Lyanna's a person that's going to take her responsibilities very seriously, and she's a warden now, so she's going to do whatever it takes to help the Wardens. And if getting that peak is going to help the Wardens, and there might be interesting relics there that could help with the Blight, or help them to learn how to do the joining to get more wardens, she would do that. Now, the only problem is, do I go there first or do I go to Redcliffe first? Because I've been told that Arl Eamon is really sick. And it sounds like he's going to have the most sway when it comes to the land's meat. But she's definitely going to help Levy, so your family's faith will be rewarded. I will help you.
1,000 blessings upon you, Warden. I'll mark down the location on your map. When you arrive, we'll pick our way through the tunnels together.
Alright. Well, I mean, it doesn't look like it's a thing that has to be done immediately. So, I might hold off and do Redcliffe first, and then go to the peak.
Ah, it's good to see you, my timely rescuer. Bodon Fennick at your service once again. I saw your camp
So
and
did
thought
they
to
follow
myself,
us?
what safer place to rest for the evening than in the camp of a Grey Warden? I'm perfectly willing to offer you a fine discount for the inconvenience of our presence. How does that sound? Good? Yes?
Let me see your wares, Bodan.
I'm sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Okay, so let's
Hello.
talk to
The
Samuel.
boy's a bit simple, but he's rather good with enchantments. One of those tranquil fellas actually called him a... what was it now? A savant. I had no idea such a thing existed.
What is a savant? Can you tell me what a savant is? That's not one of the options. I don't know what a savant is. What's a savant? Guys, they're not telling me what a savant is. I want some enchanting done.
Enchantment!
Okay, so I got that done. Did some enchanting and stuff. Let's talk to Morgan.
What do you wish of me?
I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
How'd you become a shapeshifter?
I was not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemeth's, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
Your mother's been doing this for a long time then?
Changing her form, certainly. Devouring lost children, I cannot say. She has not done it in my experience, though in truth my lifespan is but a fraction of her own. Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
Do you spend a lot of time as an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
So what do animals think of you when you're changed?
They do not shy away from me. To their senses, I believe I seem like any other of their species. As to what they think, I truly cannot say. Just as I am still human, no matter my form, they are still animals. Thus they cannot speak, even were I to ask.
Can you change into other human forms as well?
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
I've never heard of magic like that before.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the Circle of Magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the Chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
So, the way Liana thinks of the whole chantry with the apostates and the circle towers that mages get put into, she has pondered on it and she doesn't like it. She thinks that the circles should be accessible to mages that want to go there, because I'm sure there are some mages that want to go to the circles and be taught how to use their magic because they're unsure of themselves. Because you can get taken over by a demon if you go too far and you're not controlling everything. So I'm sure there are those that go willingly to the towers and practice there and like being there. But if you're like Morgan and you've been taught how to use your magic and you're not using it for bad things, and you're not you're not doing anything that would bring on demons and abominations and stuff like that, Liana thinks that you should just be able to stay where you are. And they have Templars, so if there is a mage who is creating a problem, that's when you bring the Templars in and they do their job of taking care of, like police do. They arrest people who do crimes. That's kind of like what the Templars are, except for it's just for mages. So to have a tradition of teaching old magics, I think she thinks traditions like that need to be preserved, and that the Chantry has gone way too far into just saying that all mages are evil. Plain and simple, that's it. They have to be locked up, and if they refuse to go into the Chantry, they're apostates or illegal people. That's good. Such traditions need to be preserved.
I am surprised you think so. Still, 'tis a pleasant thing to hear.
So, can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. If you had a notion to learn such a skill for yourself, sadly, you must remain disappointed.
Man, that's all I wanted to ask.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
I mean, you're a bitch at times. But I think Liana understands that not only does Morgan not have people skills, Flemeth hardened her. Like, Flemeth has taught her that humans are, and other humans have taught her, the ones that came after Flemeth and her when she was a child, that humans are stupid and they're cruel and they try to attack or suppress anything that they don't understand, and mages are things that they don't understand. So an unnatural abomination, no, I don't think. She definitely doesn't think that. That would just make you angry, I think.
No doubt it would. But enough of such talk. Let us proceed, lest the dust settle on us.
+2. See, talking to Morgan is hard. Getting approval from her is just just difficult. Alright, well, can I
What
talk
do you
to
wish of
Morgan
me?
anymore? I'd like to ask you something.
If you must.
Okay, yeah, let's continue. Can you teach others to become shape changers?
I cannot teach you, no. But
Well,
any
I
other
already knew
mages that cared to learn, yes, I could do that. Send whoever you wish my way, and I shall teach them what I can in the camp, provided they possess the will to even make the attempt.
Oh, okay. That was unexpected. I thought I needed to be friends with her,
What do you wish of
not
me?
just neutral. I'd like to ask
you
you
must.
something. Did you grow up in the Kokori wilds?
Why do you ask me such questions? I do not probe you for pointless information, do I?
I mean, you could if you wanted to. Liana would answer questions that Morgan asked. It's my favorite way of annoying you. Oh my god. You could if you wanted to. Also, I mean, I wish you could say more than one thing. You can't say more than one thing because Liana is curious. Liana likes to get to know people. So she's going to ask Morgan questions of what her life was like when she was a child and everything. But to address the question that Morgan just asked, you could if you wanted to.
Oh, what luck. What is it you asked if I grew up in the wilds? A curious question. Where else would you picture me? For many years it was simply Flemeth and I. The wilds and its creatures were more real to me than Flemeth's tales of the world of man. In time I grew curious. I left the wilds to explore what lay beyond, never for long. Brief forays into a civilized wilderness.
And you remained unnoticed.
For the most part, Flemeth taught me well. For all that I had been taught, however, the truth of the civilized lands proved to be overwhelming. I was unfamiliar with so much. So confident and bold was I, yet there was much that Flemeth could never have prepared me for.
Yeah. Very daring. That sounds like you.
Equal parts daring and foolhardy, perhaps. Only once was I accused of being a witch of the wilds, and that by a chastened who happened to be travelling with a merchant caravan. He pointed and gasped and began shouting in his strange language, and most assumed he was casting some curse upon me. I acted the terrified girl, and naturally, he was arrested.
That was quick thinking.
Men are always willing to believe two things about a woman. One, that she is weak, and two, that she finds him attractive. I played the weakling and battered my eyelashes at the captain of the guard. Child's play. The point being that I was able to move through human lands fairly easily. Whatever humans think a witch of the wild looks like, 'tis not I. Not that I did not have trouble. There are things about human society which have always puzzled me, such as the touching. Why all the touching for a simple greeting?
I can understand Flemeth as a mother. She probably didn't get very much affection as a child, but trying to make a joke out of it, because that's actually kind of awful to think about. Were you upset by all the bad touching?
At least with that sort of touching, I would have been able to intuit the intent with far greater ease. There were many nuances that Flemeth could never tell me of. When to look into another's eyes.
Oh, I didn't mean
How
that
to
kind
eat
of
at a
touching.
table. How to bargain without offending. None of these things I knew. I still do not understand it all, truth be told, but then I gave up long ago any hope of doing so. When I returned to the wilds last, I swore to Flemeth that I had no intention of leaving again.
Well, it looks like this might be a talking episode. But that's okay. That's what an RPG is. You talk a lot. You can go back if you like.
I have no qualm with the mission I have been set to. Flemeth was correct, like it or not. The Darkspawn are an enemy of all. Well, let's get on with it before the ground opens up and swallows us, yes?
Still again, only 2. You know what? I'll come back and talk to her later. I'm gonna go talk to Alistair. He's easier to talk to. He actually likes me.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask.
Ask away.
So you said this Arl Eamon raised you.
Oh, did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
That must have been tough for them. That would explain the smell.
Well, it wasn't until I was 8 that I discovered you didn't have to lick yourself clean. Old habits die hard, you know.
That would explain the breath as well, then.
And my table manners too. Though, come to think of it, they weren't all that different from the other Templars. Or did I dream all of that? Funny the dreams you'll have when you sleep on the cold, hard ground, isn't it? Are you having strange dreams?
Well, I mean, you just, like, earlier, I woke up from one, and we had a talk about it. Only ones where the world is threatened by Darkspawn. Yes, they all involve strangling you. Ooh. Only ones where we're making mad love in my tent. Or no, not really. Oh, well, you know which one we're picking. Only ones where we're making mad love in my tent.
I think I completely lost my chain of thought. Oh, there it is. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arl Eamon wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
But you blamed him then, I take it.
I was young and resentful and not very pious. Of course I blamed him. I remember screaming at him like a little child. Well, I was a child, so I doubt he was surprised. Arl Eamon eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Arlessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
That's an awful thing to do to a child.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
You were young.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
C6!
What do
He
you need?
likes me. I'd like to ask you
away.
something. So, why did you remain a Templar if you hate the Chantry?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen you wearing it.
I keep it hidden under my pillow. Sometimes I'll take it out just so I can hug it fondly and remember the good old days. Brings a tear to the eyes, you know.
Do all Templars make these jokes, or just you?
Oh, you know, between all the guilt and the hours spent in solemn prayer, any good Templar or priest is just bursting to tell a few good jokes when the opportunity arises. You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
Then make up something more exciting.
You know, I like the way you think. But I guess if you're really curious, there's no harm in obliging. I have a couple of interesting-looking moles I can show you later, too, if you're interested. The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery.
Weird.
The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Arl Eamon had cast me off, unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
What did you enjoy about training?
The education, mostly. But also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though. Until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful for when we encountered Darkspawn magic. So I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
I guess my home is with the Grey Wardens now. With you.
It is. I didn't know you felt that way. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
They can be rebuilt.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Well, I'm still
What do you need?
talking, though. I'd like to ask you
Ask
something.
away.
What can a Templar do exactly?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
So couldn't others learn these talents?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
So you were addicted to this lyrium?
Thankfully, no. You only start receiving lyrium once you've taken your vows. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Oh, didn't get any approval.
What do you
from
need?
that.
Ask away.
Something? Can you teach others to be a
I
Templar?
suppose I could. But I really would rather not. When the Grand Cleric let Duncan recruit me, she made me swear never to reveal Templar secrets outside of the Chantry. I'd rather not go back on my word.
Very well. I respect your word.
Ask me later, perhaps. Maybe I'll change my mind. This is not something small you're asking, after all.
I said I respected what... You know, there's just no pleasing some people.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
Tell me about the Grey Wardens.
Such as they are.
Where are the nearest ones from here?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the Free Marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
Is there a headquarters somewhere?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it.
Well,
Loghain will have control over that. And
that's
be
a
watching
no-go.
it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfells, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
so what happens now that there's just two of us?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, It's up to us.
Will we need to start rebuilding the Order?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be 2 of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Just hypothetically, because Lyanna wouldn't actually leave, what would happen if we just left?
Just left? You mean just left for Eldon? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
No more questions.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. What do you need?
Ask you
Ask
something?
away.
How'd you become a Warden?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Ha ha, very funny.
I do my best. What can I say? Let's see, I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
So you mentioned before.
It's really for the best. I'm not exactly the Chantry type, if you haven't noticed. I don't think I would have made a very good Templar. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
You think Duncan took pity on you? No. That's an awful thing to say. Why did the Grand Cleric want to keep you?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
He was a good man.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Okay, I'm gonna leave Alistair alone. And Liliana,
Yes?
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
This vision of yours.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell. And the darkness drew me in.
You dreamed of the Blight.
I have had
No.
dreams. This was
Hit the wrong
different
thing.
somehow.
Damn.
When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rose bush in the corner had flowered. Everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
I suppose I couldn't sit by either. I mean, she's not sitting by. She's working on stopping the Blight, so...
That is why you're a Grey Warden. Come, there's a Blight to stop. Yes?
Like to talk.
Well, here I am.
What was life like in the Chantry Cloister?
Quiet. It was a life suited for contemplation. In the cloister, away from the fuss and the flurry of the cities, I found peace. And in that stillness, I could hear the Maker. But it was not perfect. Some of my Chantry fellows were condescending. That is the nature of religious folk, I suppose.
Yeah, they tend to be self-righteous.
When I talked about my beliefs, that the Maker reveals himself in the beauty of his world, they treated me with disdain. They want to believe that he's gone, so that when he turns his gaze on them, it means they are special, chosen. He cannot possibly have love for all, the sick and the weary, the beggars and the fools.
I prefer your ideas to the ideas of the Chantry.
Thank you. Maybe I am wrong. But it is the Maker's place to decide if I am worthy, not men, not the Chantry. But there is work to be done, and I have talked enough for now.
Okay, I'm gonna go say something to Sten one more time, put some stuff in the chest.
Why are we stopping?
Oh boy. Sten, we need to stop because it's dark, and because we need to rest, and because we're working together. I think I should get to know you.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
I've never seen a Qunari before. Tell me about your people.
No.
No? Why not?
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of, the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Okay, you said you were in the army.
I am.
Why would the Qunari send soldiers here?
The Antam are the eyes, hands, and mouth of the Qunari. We are how my people know the world.
Doesn't that make your view of things a little skewed?
Compared to what?
Good question.
What does anyone truly know of the world? The world changes. We change. The Antam observe what we can, just as you do.
Have you ever fought in a war?
I have always fought in war, human.
So you must know your way around the battlefield,
Some of
then.
them. They aren't all alike.
What made you decide to become a soldier?
Decide. I am a Sten of the Beresad. I did not choose to be who I am any more than you did.
Never mind, I have some other questions.
There is no point to this. We are keeping the Darkspawn waiting.
Are you alright? You were in that cage for weeks.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
We should get moving.
As you wish.
Anything else?
Yes.
No, just let's go.
As you wish.
I'll talk some more to them after we actually do some things, like do a quest or something. So I'm going to stop the video here. This was a lot of talking. I'll try and make these not so regular, the talking videos in camp, because that's about all that happens here in camp is just talking. So maybe every 3 or 4 episodes I'll do some talking. I'll just see how it works. I don't exactly know how I'm gonna play out the camp thing, because I could do the talking all day long, but I also want to space it out some because it progresses the stories and it progresses the oh, you know what, while I'm talking to you guys, it progresses the things that can happen in the story and all that stuff. That goes
I could get used to this, you know.
Alistair. Bronze symbol. Does the bronze symbol of Andraste? Oh no. I don't remember who that goes to. I think that goes to Liliana.
That's a wonderful thought. I don't know what to say.
That Morgan likes gold.
I am grateful. 'Tis thoughtful indeed.
There. The wine that. Okay. Party approval. I've already explained party approval. But look at that. 10. Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep the talking to as much of a minimum as I can. I mean, there's some, ooh. Woohoo! There's only so much that, can I take these out? No. There's only so much not talking. You know what? Before I put any of this stuff in here, I want to make stuff, but don't worry, I'll do that off camera. I'm not going to keep y'all, oh wait, that I can put in there. I'm not going to keep y'all for that, but I just want to do as much as I can get done. But yeah, so ooh. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll definitely be doing more exploring and story progression in the next video. I'm going to talk to Sten one more time, and I think I might talk to Morgan one more time, but then that's it. It's just deciding on whether I want to go to Soldier's Peak or go to Redcliffe. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please remember to like and comment, share with people you think might enjoy the video. If you wouldn't mind, if you feel so humble, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I upload a video, so you can see more Dragon Age, you can see when I upload Mass Effect, and then that magical day when I finally upload a Sims video again. Anyway, I'm rambling. I always do this at the end of videos. So just, I love you guys, and have a great morning, afternoon, night, whenever it is you're watching this, and I will see you in the next video.